The air was thick with heat and the pungent scent of smoke, and the ground trembled beneath the rhythmic thudding of massive paws. In the heart of the alien city of Zathra, a creature of legend roamed, a beast said to embody the ferocity and pride of her people. Its scales shimmered in shades of obsidian and crimson, its eyes glowed like molten gold, and every exhale from its maw filled the courtyard with smoke and fire. The populace had long accepted that no single being could tame it. Many had tried, many had failed, many had not survived, yet here, in the tense silence of dawn, stood a human, a single human guard, clad in simple armor, his stance calm yet vigilant, and his expression measured in a way that startled even the seasoned warriors of Zathra. The council of elders, draped in ceremonial robes, whispered among themselves, incredulous that this fragile mortal creature dared face their legendary beast. Humans were considered weak, unpredictable, and fragile curiosity at best. They had never faced a threat of this magnitude, and the thought of one taming the revered beast was laughable. The human stepped forward, unflinching. He carried no exotic weapon, no mystical artifact, no display of power meant to awe the alien crowd. Instead, he relied on something far simpler, far more dangerous in its subtlety: calm, clarity, and unwavering confidence. His eyes locked with the beast's, and in that silent exchange, the entire courtyard seemed to hold its breath. For the first time, the legend was confronted by something no one had anticipated: a human who refused to be intimidated. The beast roared, a sound that rattled the walls and sent tremors through the city streets. It lunged, claws extended, eyes blazing with fury and instinctive dominance. The alien guards, who had trained their entire lives for moments like this, braced themselves, expecting instant carnage. Yet the human did not raise weapon or shield. Instead, he shifted his weight slightly, moved with fluid precision, and spoke not with volume, but with tone, cadence, and calm intent that seemed almost magnetic. The crowd gasped. The human's voice was steady, deliberate, imbued with authority that was not imposed by title or rank, but by presence alone. The beast halted mid-lunge, head tilting as it studied the human, uncertainty flickering in its golden eyes. The human did not flinch. He did not retreat. He maintained eye contact, subtle yet deliberate, and the moment stretched as the sun rose higher, illuminating every tense detail: scales glinting, claws digging into stone, and a single human standing unmoved. The elders murmured among themselves, disbelief etched into every line of their faces. No one had ever faced the beast and lived, let alone commanded its attention. The human's calm was disarming. His presence radiated competence and confidence, and though he was physically smaller, the authority he projected was undeniable. Humans, it seemed, had a remarkable capacity to act decisively under pressure, to turn audacity and composure into influence, and to survive where others perished. Minutes stretched into an eternity. The beast pawed at the ground, its roar now lower, almost questioning. It circled, its immense body moving with predatory grace. Yet every step was calculated in response to the human's subtle shifts. The guard remained motionless, responding not with force but with precision. He mirrored the beast's movements in small, controlled gestures, demonstrating dominance through understanding rather than aggression. The lesson was clear: audacity combined with clarity could rival brute strength. Onlookers began to notice a change. The once raging beast, revered as untamable, now hesitated in its fury. Its movements slowed. Its eyes searched the humans with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity, and the trembling of the city beneath its steps lessened. A subtle tension replaced terror, a silent negotiation taking place without words. Humans, who were considered weak and fragile, possessed a rare quality: the ability to turn understanding and courage into results. Even against overwhelming odds, the human spoke again, softly this time, a series of low, controlled tones that seemed almost musical to the alien ear. The beast paused, its head lowering slightly, nostrils flaring as if smelling the intent behind the words. The crowd gasped anew. He was not using chains, cages, or threats. He was using presence.com, and an unshakable certainty that the creature had not encountered before. This was audacity in its purest form, an intrinsic human quality that defied expectation and commanded results without reliance on strength alone. The elders leaned forward, their skepticism battling with fascination. They had spent lifetimes preparing for such moments, assuming that dominance over the beast required weapons of ancient power, complex strategies, or sheer physical might. Yet here, one human had demonstrated that raw audacity and understanding could achieve what no amount of preparation had. Humans were weak, they had believed, yet in this moment, weakness proved to be an illusion, a misunderstanding of what humans could achieve when they acted decisively. The beast lowered itself further, claws scraping the stone courtyard, eyes fixed on the human. There was no aggression now, only assessment. The human remained calm, breathing evenly, movements minimal but deliberate. Every flick of his wrist, every shift of weight, communicated understanding and confidence. The beast, massive and terrifying, seemed to recognize the human as something other than prey or threaten, equal in resolve and presence. The first sign of true taming appeared not through force, but through acknowledgement. Valera, the young princess who had observed the proceedings from the gallery above, felt her pulse quicken. She had been skeptical, convinced that the human could never succeed. Yet here he stood, alive, unflinching, and commanding the attention of the Her advisors whispered nervously, their theories of human fragility shattered by evidence. The princess herself had seen humans in battle, had heard tales of their ingenuity, but never had she witnessed such audacity manifested so directly, so effectively, and so calmly. Hours passed, and the beast's aggression waned further. It circled more slowly, its roars turning into low growls, the fire of its gaze tempered by curiosity and recognition. The human stepped forward slightly, a calculated risk, yet with confidence that left no room for doubt. The crowd murmured in awe. The alien guards, trained for intimidation and combat, watched with wide eyes, realizing that what they had assumed impossible was unfolding before them. A human, alone and without overwhelming physical strength, was taming the beast of her people. At last, the human reached a hand forward, palm open and steady. The beast lowered its massive head, breathing heavily, eyes still cautious yet no longer hostile. The human's touch was deliberate but gentle, a demonstration of control without force. The courtyard erupted in gasps and whispered praise. One by one, the elders and spectators began to understand that humanity possessed qualities beyond physical might, audacity, adaptability, and courage that could defy expectation and reshape reality itself. The princess stepped closer, her voice barely audible above the stunned crowd. How do you do it?" she asked, genuinely curious and wary of her own assumptions. The human looked up at her, calm, confident, and entirely composed. "I do not rely on fear. I act decisively, with understanding, and I accept consequences. Humans, we survive not because we are strongest, but because we act where others hesitate, and because audacity can become influence." The elders whispered amongst themselves, struggling to reconcile centuries of belief with the undeniable truth before them. They had trained generations in the art of dominance over the beast, and yet this human, without any formal preparation in their methods, had achieved what they thought impossible. Humans were considered fragile, yet here was living proof that audacity, precision, and courage could create reality where others failed. The beast, now calm and almost submissive in its posture, allowed the human to guide it through the courtyard. Citizens and guards alike stepped back, astonished at the shift in power. One being, fragile by conventional standards, had imposed control not through violence, but through composure, insight, and unwavering intent. Humans, it seemed, were extraordinary in ways her people had never understood. By evening, the human had walked the beast to the ceremonial enclosure, the creature's behavior respectful yet alert. The city watched, amazed, as the impossible had been made reality. Valera could not hide her astonishment. She had expected failure, bloodshed, or retreat. Instead, she had witnessed audacity and intelligence translated into action that achieved the unthinkable. Humanity, long underestimated, had revealed itself as a force shaped not by brute strength, but by the power to act decisively, adapt swiftly, and endure relentlessly. That night, the city celebrated not merely the taming of the beast, but the revelation of human potential. One guard had demonstrated audacity, composure, and ingenuity in the face of overwhelming danger. One human had faced the untamable, survived, and commanded respect where others had only expected carnage. The princess and the elders realized that humanity's reputation for weakness had been profoundly mistaken. The capacity to act decisively, to endure, and to inspire awe, even among beings far stronger and more ancient, was a hallmark of humans that could not be ignored. And so, as the stars appeared over Zathra, a single human guard stood alongside the beast of her people, a living testament to audacity, courage, and the extraordinary potential of humanity. In that moment, the people understood a truth they had long denied. Humans, underestimated for their fragility, could achieve what no one else could, survive where others failed, and influence outcomes that even the mightiest could not predict. The next morning dawned hot and still, the air heavy with anticipation. News of the humans' feat had spread quickly throughout Zathra, whispered from street to street, and echoed in the halls of the palace. Citizens who had once believed the beast untamable now stared with awe at the courtyard, where the colossal creature waited, calm yet watchful, and at the human guard, whose presence seemed to command respect without intimidation. The elders convened quietly, debating how to proceed. None doubted the display of capability they had just witnessed, yet none fully understood its implications. Humans were fragile, yes, but this one had revealed a quality far beyond physical strength. Audacity, combined with intellect, composure, and a singular capacity to shape events. The human began the day with his usual routine, approaching the beast not as an opponent, but as an equal in resolve. He moved with deliberate precision, each step measured to maintain authority, while respecting the creature's instinctual dominance. The beast, enormous and imposing, watched his every motion, muscles coiled, yet tension giving way to curiosity rather than hostility. The crowd had gathered again, though at a respectful distance, knowing that this encounter would define the bounds of possibility. Humans, they realized, did not need weapons of legend or mystical power. They relied on courage, perception, and the ability to act decisively under pressure. Observing from her balcony, felt a mixture of apprehension and fascination. She had doubted this human, expected failure, and yet he had achieved the impossible. She had believed the beast invincible, untamable, and beyond comprehension. Yet now, in the early morning light, she saw him calmly moving among forces that had terrified her people for centuries. Humans, she began to recognize, possessed a unique capacity for audacity, adaptability, and problem-solving that could challenge even the most fearsome of adversaries. That the human's first challenge of the day came unexpectedly. The beast had grown restless, its massive body shifting, tail lashing, and claws digging into the stone. It tested his authority, probing limits, and displaying signs of instinctive aggression. Many would have panicked or reacted with force, but the human remained calm. He mirrored its movements subtly, positioning himself to show dominance through composure rather than confrontation. Every tilt of his head, every breath he took, communicated control without intimidation. Humans, it seemed, wielded a presence that could bend perception, creating authority through audacity and clarity, rather than raw strength. Hours passed as the human engaged in a delicate negotiation of will. The beast lunged, snapped, and pawed at the air, testing boundaries, while the human adjusted with micro-precision, never overreacting, never retreating, and never displaying fear. Onlookers began to murmur, astonished at the mastery displayed. What should have been chaos, the clash between human fragility and titanic ferocity, was instead a calculated ballet of action and reaction. The human's audacity created a reality where others had assumed only destruction would occur. Mid-morning brought a new complication. A group of young alien warriors, eager to test the human's resolve, attempted to intervene, believing that they could intimidate or influence the outcome. The human did not flinch. Instead, he addressed the beast first, ensuring its focus remained undivided, and then subtly signaled the intruders to halt. His voice was calm, clear, and resonant, carrying authority without threat. The warriors froze, uncertain, realizing that the human's audacity and composure were forces in themselves, forces that could control even the untamable. Humans, she recognized, had a rare talent for converting presence and confidence into tangible influence. The elders whispered nervously, among themselves. "No one has ever maintained control when the beast is distracted," one said. "They say human reflexes are slow, yet he anticipates every movement. How is this possible?" Another added, "It is not mere skill. It is audacity, clarity, and a refusal to yield to instinctive fear. He reshapes reality with action." Valera nodded silently, understanding in her gut the truth of their words. Humans were underestimated, not because they lacked strength, but because their potential for initiative, adaptability, and courage defied conventional measurement. As the day progressed, the human faced increasingly complex challenges. The beast attempted more aggressive maneuvers, lunging with increased speed, snapping jaws closer, and testing the limits of the human's composure. Yet each move was met with precise response, micro-adjustments in stance, subtle cues that guided the beast's movements without overt coercion, and a calm that radiated assurance to all who observed. Humans, it became clear, could convert audacity into influence, courage into control, and clarity into a tangible force that even creatures of legend could recognize. The crowd began to notice patterns. The human did not respond with aggression, nor did he rely on physical dominance. He understood the beast's behavior, anticipated reactions, and created an environment in which the creature's instinctual aggression could be channeled, rather than expressed destructively. What should have been a confrontation had become a structured interaction, a demonstration of human ingenuity, adaptability, and strategic thinking. Humans, Valera realized, were capable of converting intelligence, audacity, and courage into results that defied expectation. The beast was showing signs of true deference, lowering its massive head, blinking slowly, and responding to subtle cues rather than instinctive impulses. The human maintained unwavering composure, ensuring that his authority was evident but not oppressive. He demonstrated restraint, precision, and strategic foresight, qualities long assumed absent in humans by those who judged them on size and strength alone. The populace began to whisper in awe. One human, fragile by conventional standards, had achieved mastery over the unmasterable, relying on skill, composure, and audacity rather than weapons or overwhelming force. A sudden commotion at the edge of the courtyard tested both the human and the beast. A pack of smaller creatures, drawn by curiosity and the scent of challenge, attempted to provoke the beast. The human's attention did not waver. He subtly shifted his stance, guided the beast's focus, and neutralized the distraction without confrontation. The crowd erupted in astonishment. Humans, they realized, possessed a capacity for simultaneous perception, rapid adaptation, and decisive action that far exceeded their assumptions. One human had demonstrated it against a creature that represented the apex of their culture's power. Valera felt her understanding of the human species deepen. She had known of their ingenuity in warfare and diplomacy, yet witnessing it firsthand was different. Audacity, courage, adaptability, and the capacity to act decisively under extreme pressure. These were traits that her people had long underestimated. The human guard, small and fragile in appearance, was reshaping the rules of interaction, showing that survival and dominance could be achieved through intellect, composure, and presence rather than sheer strength. The afternoon passed with the human guiding the beast through a series of exercises designed to reinforce control and trust. He moved with deliberate precision, anticipating the creature's reactions and adjusting in real time. The beast, massive and legendary, responded with compliance rather than defiance. Each successful maneuver reinforced the human's authority, demonstrating the power of audacity and clarity in shaping outcomes. Humans, Valera realized, were extraordinary because they acted decisively where others hesitated, adapted where others would falter, and survived by converting courage into tangible influence. As evening approached, the final test of the day was announced. The elders had prepared a challenge designed to break the human, involving a complex obstacle course that tested agility, timing, and coordination with the beast. Many expected failure, some even hoped for it, assuming that the human's audacity would collapse under pressure. Yet the guard approached with calm determination. He studied the course, assessed the beast's behavior, and moved with confidence that inspired both respect and disbelief. Humans, it seemed, could convert observation and foresight into decisive action that reshaped expectation itself. The challenge began. The beast moved with agility and power, attempting to assert dominance and assert its will. Yet the human responded with precise timing and clear guidance. Every obstacle was navigated with subtle cues, calm commands, and an understanding of the creature's instincts. Onlookers watched in awe as the human completed the course flawlessly, demonstrating not brute strength, but audacity, foresight, and the capacity to act decisively under extreme pressure. The HFY truth was undeniable. Humans survived, adapted, and excelled in ways others could not anticipate. By nightfall, the courtyard was quiet, the beast resting beside the human, its breathing steady. eyes glowing with calm acceptance rather than fury. The human had not merely tamed the beast, he had earned its recognition, commanding respect without reliance on threat or overwhelming force. Valera, observing from the balcony, felt a deep shift in perception. Humans were not fragile or weak, they were audacious, adaptable, and capable of reshaping outcomes even against beings of legendary power. One human had proven this truth, and in doing so, had altered her understanding of strength, capability, and the limits of possibility that the citizens celebrated, not merely for the taming of the beast, but for the revelation of human potential. The elders acknowledged that centuries of assumptions about weakness had been profoundly mistaken. The human's audacity, composure, and strategic insight had accomplished what no weapon, ritual, or force could achieve. Valera approached him quietly as the crowd dispersed. "You've shown us something remarkable," she said, voice filled with awe. "I underestimated you, underestimated your species." The human nodded, calm yet resolute. "We survive not by strength alone," he said. "We endure because we act decisively, adapt where others falter, and use audacity to shape outcomes. One human can face what seems impossible, survive, and influence results in ways that defy expectation. Today, we have demonstrated that truth." As stars emerged over Zathra, the human stood beside the beast, a living testament to courage, audacity, and the extraordinary capacity of humanity. One human guard had faced the untamable, survived, and commanded respect, proving that weakness was only an illusion when audacity, intelligence, and determination were applied. The city slept, awestruck and inspired, knowing that the future had shifted in ways they could not have imagined, because humans, underestimated for centuries, had revealed their true power. The following morning, Zathra awoke to an unusual tension that hummed through the city like an electric current. News of the human guard's success in taming the legendary beast had spread quickly beyond the palace walls, reaching districts, training grounds, and marketplaces alike. Where disbelief and skepticism had reigned the day before, curiosity and cautious respect now predominated. Citizens whispered among themselves about the audacity of one human, standing unflinching before a creature of legend, commanding obedience without weapons, authority, or intimidation. The elders, meanwhile, convened urgently in the palace chambers. While some recognized the display as proof of human ingenuity, others feared that such audacity might embolden rivals or invite challenges from within their own ranks. Humans were, after all, considered fragile and unpredictable, yet this one had forced every preconceived notion to crumble before their eyes. The human, for his part, began the day with the same quiet diligence as before. He approached the beast with calm authority, moving deliberately, eyes alert but steady. The creature, massive and imposing, rose to meet him, muscles rippling beneath dark, glimmering scales. There was no fear on the human's face, only measured resolve. To the onlookers, it seemed impossible that someone so small, so apparently fragile, could command such attention from a being so powerful. But humans, it appeared, relied not on size, but on audacity, foresight, and the capacity to act decisively under pressure. The first challenge of the day emerged unexpectedly. A violent storm swept across the city, whipping sand and dust into the courtyard. The beast reacted instinctively, roaring and pawing at the stone, its muscles taut with agitation. Other humans, untrained and unprepared, might have fled or attempted to coerce the creature with force. But this human remained composed. He adjusted his posture subtly, making careful eye contact, and spoke in low, controlled tones. The beast, sensing the steadiness of his intent, gradually quelled its panic. Observers gasped at the display. Humans, they realized, could turn audacity and calm composure into tangible influence, even over a creature that represented the apex of their society's power. The human's adaptability became even more evident when a rival faction of alien trainers arrived, seeking to assert authority over the beast and discredit the human. They brought weapons, chains, and loud commands, believing that force and ritual could bend the creature to their will. The crowd murmured nervously, anticipating chaos, yet the human did not react with aggression or confrontation. Instead, he adjusted his approach, using the rival faction's movements to reinforce the beast's focus on him. With subtle gestures, deliberate positioning, and calm vocal cues, he maintained control. Where others would have escalated conflict, the human adapted, turning potential chaos into an opportunity to demonstrate his authority and reinforce trust with the beast. Humans, it seemed, were extraordinary because they could act decisively and adapt in real time. Converting threat into advantage. Lyra observed the scene, her thoughts a tumult of awe and apprehension. She had doubted him before, assumed humans fragile and incapable. Yet now she recognized that this human's audacity and skill had rewritten expectations entirely. The rival faction's failure was instructive. While they relied on brute strength, ritual, and intimidation, he relied on perception, foresight, and composure. Where they reacted to events, he shaped them. Humans, she realized, could confront challenges that seemed insurmountable and transform outcomes by sheer initiative and decisiveness. The next challenge involved a test of coordination and trust. The elders had designed a series of obstacles in the courtyard to simulate scenarios in which the beast might be provoked, disoriented, or challenged. The human guided the beast through the course with a fluidity that seemed almost preternatural. Each jump, each maneuver, each controlled pause was executed with precision, demonstrating not only mastery over the creature, but also an understanding of its instincts and tendencies. Observers whispered among themselves, noting how a human, small and seemingly fragile, could orchestrate such outcomes with calm authority. Humans survived and excelled not by physical dominance alone, but by combining audacity, intelligence, and adaptability into action that reshaped reality. By midday, the courtyard was alive with tension and admiration. Citizens gathered to watch as the human continued to test boundaries, pushing the beast slightly beyond its comfort zone while maintaining control. The creature responded with measured deference rather than aggression, muscles coiled but obedient. The human's ability to anticipate reactions, guide instinct, and reinforce trust without resorting to violence was unparalleled. The elders realized that their assumptions about human fragility were fundamentally flawed. One human had demonstrated mastery over a being they had long believed untamable, and in doing so had revealed the extraordinary potential of his species. The human's audacity faced a new trial when a sudden attack erupted at the city gates. Raiders, exploiting the storm from earlier, attempted to breach the perimeter, expecting minimal resistance. The beast reacted instinctively, muscles tensing and eyes flaring, while guards scrambled to respond. The human, however, remained composed. He assessed the situation quickly, positioning himself and the beast strategically, and issued calm, precise commands. The beast responded seamlessly, moving with incredible speed and coordination to block avenues of attack. Humans, Valera noted, had a rare ability to act decisively under pressure, converting potential catastrophe into controlled action. The raid was repelled swiftly and efficiently. The crowd erupted in astonishment, witnessing firsthand how one human could orchestrate defense and maintain control over a legendary creature simultaneously. The human had acted decisively where others hesitated, adapted where others struggled, and achieved results that defied expectation. Valera's admiration deepened. She had assumed strength was measured in size and power, yet here she observed a human redefining the concept entirely. Courage, composure, and audacity could be more effective than brute force. As the afternoon wore on, the human engaged in further exercises with the beast, each designed to test endurance, obedience, and responsiveness under increasingly complex conditions. The creature was massive and powerful, yet the human guided it effortlessly, blending initiative with strategy and audacity with precision. The crowd, initially skeptical, now watched in reverent silence. Humans were extraordinary, they realized, because they converted presence into influence, courage into control, and adaptability into results. One human had demonstrated this truth repeatedly, reshaping perceptions and inspiring awe. Valera, moving closer to the courtyard, noted how the human's confidence seemed to radiate, influencing not just the beast, but those around him. Guards followed his lead instinctively, civilians stepped back in awe rather than fear, and the rival faction of trainers, humbled, watched in disbelief. Humans acted where others hesitated. They adapted when conventional methods failed. They survived, and in doing so, they shaped outcomes in ways the strongest and most disciplined beings could not predict. The final trial of the day was designed to test mutual trust. The beast, massive and wary, was led along a series of elevated platforms, narrow bridges, and precarious ledges. Any misstep could result in injury, yet the human moved with calm precision, communicating subtly with the creature and anticipating each reaction. Step by step, the beast followed, muscles coiling and flexing in perfect coordination with the human's guidance. Observers murmured in awe. Humans, Valera realized, were extraordinary because they combined audacity, intelligence, and composure into results that defied conventional measurement. One human had tamed the untamable, guided it through danger, and emerged unscathed, proving capability beyond expectation. As evening fell, the courtyard was quiet but charged with a new energy. The beast rested beside the human, its breathing steady, eyes calm and attentive. The human's composure had never wavered, his audacity unshaken, and his adaptability demonstrated in ways the observers could barely comprehend. Citizens and guards alike recognized the truth. Humans were not weak. They could act decisively, influence outcomes, and survive challenges that would overwhelm others. One human had transformed not only the relationship with a legendary creature, but also the perception of his species. Valera approached him as the crowd dispersed, awe and curiosity in her eyes. "You've done more than tame the beast," she said softly. "You've shown us the potential of your kind. Humans are stronger than we imagined, not in muscle or size, but in courage, adaptability, and audacity." The human nodded, calm yet resolute. "Strength is measured in many ways. Humans survive because we act decisively where others hesitate, adapt where others falter, and endure where others fail. One human can face what seems impossible, survive, and create outcomes that defy expectation. That is our power." By nightfall, the city slept under a sense of awe and newfound respect. The human had demonstrated not only control over the beast, but the extraordinary potential of his species. Audacity, initiative, and intelligence translated into results that others could not imagine. One human guard had faced danger, uncertainty, and skepticism, and emerged triumphant. Humanity, long underestimated, had revealed its true nature. The world had witnessed that audacity could bend circumstance, composure could command respect, and one human could redefine what was thought possible. The next morning broke with a crispness that belied the tension rippling through Word of the human guard's mastery over the legendary beast had reached every corner of the city, and the populace gathered early, eager to witness what they still half believed impossible. The courtyard was filled with citizens, guards, and elders, all watching with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The beast itself, enormous and imposing, stood calmly beside the human, its eyes glowing with an intensity now tempered by respect and recognition. The human's presence radiated an aura of command that drew attention, not through force, but through an undeniable confidence that spoke louder than any roar or display of strength. The elders, still uneasy, convened quietly, debating what the day's final challenge would be. They knew that their city's pride and stability rested not only on the beast but on the perception of control. The human had already demonstrated audacity, courage, and intelligence beyond what they thought possible for a human. Now, they needed to test him against something even greater, a coordinated series of trials, designed to push both the guard and the beast to their limits, to see if the extraordinary would falter under pressure or rise to meet it. The first trial began with a sudden release of the city's training constructs, enormous mechanical simulations designed to test strength, agility, and reaction. They lunged and surged toward the beast, controlled only by its instinct and the human's guidance. The creature responded instantly, yet rather than panicking, it moved in harmony with the human's commands. Step by step, jump by jump, the human adjusted his position and cues with micro-precision, demonstrating unparalleled adaptability. Observers gasped. Humans, previously thought fragile, had revealed a capacity to influence outcomes through audacity, intelligence, and calm decisiveness. One human had transformed fear into cooperation, chaos into order. Next came a challenge designed to test endurance, a complex obstacle course of elevated platforms, narrow bridges, and shifting surfaces. The beast's sheer weight and size made the endeavor daunting. Any misstep could have resulted in catastrophic failure, yet the human guided the creature with steady, deliberate gestures, voice calm, movements subtle but commanding. The beast responded with focus, muscles coiling and releasing in perfect sync with the human's guidance. Each maneuver reinforced the human's authority, demonstrating that audacity and composure could command respect in ways brute force could not. As the trials progressed, A rival faction of alien trainers attempted interference, seeking to disrupt the humans' control and reclaim prestige. They shouted, gestured, and even brandished weapons, believing that intimidation could sway the beast. The human did not falter. He anticipated their moves, adjusted his position, and guided the creature with subtle, deliberate cues that ensured the rival faction's efforts were irrelevant. Observers marveled at the precision with which a human could turn potential threats into opportunities, maintaining control over both beasts and environment. Humans survived not by brute force, but by audacity, foresight, and adaptability, turning hesitation into results and chaos into order. By midday, the final challenge approached, a simulated attack designed to replicate a real invasion. Coordinated squads of guards and mechanical constructs surged toward the courtyard, testing the human's ability to maintain control and enforce strategy under extreme pressure. The human acted decisively, directing the beast with fluid gestures, clear vocal cues, and subtle positioning that anticipated every reaction. The creature responded with unparalleled coordination, its instincts tempered by the human's guidance, neutralizing threats without unnecessary aggression. The crowd watched in silent awe, witnessing the extraordinary capacity of one human to influence, control, and survive against forces thought overwhelming. Valeria, standing on her balcony, felt her perspective shift profoundly. She had doubted humans, considered them fragile and weak, yet now she saw one acting with courage, intelligence, and audacity that reshaped reality. The human had proven that survival was not dependent solely on strength, but on decisive action, adaptability, and the ability to influence outcomes. One human, she realized, could stand against the impossible and bend circumstance to their will. As the simulated invasion continued, the human demonstrated his ingenuity. He anticipated movements, corrected deviations, and guided the beast through every scenario with perfect synchronization. Where others would panic, he remained composed. Where others would hesitate, he acted decisively. Humans, it became evident, possessed a unique capacity to convert audacity and courage into tangible results. One human had done what generations of Zatharans had thought impossible, mastering a legendary creature, maintaining control under extreme duress, and enforcing outcomes without relying on brute strength alone. The climax of the trials came when the human was forced to navigate the beast through a collapsing structure, designed to simulate catastrophic instability. Stone and debris fell unpredictably, the air thick with dust, and the crowd feared disaster. Yet the human moved calmly, guiding the beast with gestures that communicated clarity and trust. The creature responded flawlessly, balancing, leaping, and maneuvering with precision. Each step reinforced the human's authority and demonstrated the power of decisiveness under pressure. Humans, Valeria realized, were extraordinary because they could endure uncertainty, adapt instantly, and create outcomes that defied expectation. When the final obstacle was cleared, the crowd erupted in astonished applause. The human had not only survived, but had demonstrated mastery over a legendary beast in conditions that should have been insurmountable. Elders, once skeptical, now bowed in acknowledgement. Guards and citizens alike recognized the extraordinary capability of a species they had underestimated for generations. One human had demonstrated the audacity, courage, and adaptability that defined humanity, reshaping perception and setting a new standard for what was possible. Valeria descended to the courtyard, her eyes fixed on the human. "I misjudged you," she admitted, voice filled with awe. "I believed humans were weak. I believed one could never face the impossible and prevail. Yet here you stand, master of the untamable, guiding what no one else could control. Humanity is extraordinary." The human nodded, calm and composed. "Strength comes in many forms," he replied. "We survive because we act decisively where others hesitate, adapt when others falter, and endure when others would fail. One human can face what seems impossible, influence outcomes, and demonstrate capability beyond expectation. That is who we are." The crowd, inspired and humbled, saw the truth in his words. Humans were not defined by fragility or physical size, but by audacity, initiative, and the capacity to act where others would hesitate. One human guard had tamed the beast of her people, navigated impossible trials, and proven that courage, adaptability, and intelligence could shape reality in ways that even the strongest could not predict. By evening, the courtyard was calm, the beast resting obediently beside the human. The city slept under the shadow of awe and newfound respect. Valera stood quietly, reflecting on the lessons learned. Humans acted decisively, adapted instantly, and endured relentlessly. One human had faced the untamable, survived challenges designed to crush the strongest, and reshaped the perceptions of an entire civilization. The truth was clear. Humanity, underestimated for centuries, had revealed its extraordinary nature through audacity, intelligence, and courage. In the days that followed, the human continued to work with the beast, guiding its training, testing its capabilities, and demonstrating that the audacity to act decisively, the composure to maintain control under pressure, and the intelligence to adapt in real time were qualities that could not be matched by size, strength, or tradition alone. The people of Zathra, once skeptical, now looked upon humans with awe and admiration. One human had tamed what was considered untamable, survived against expectations, and proven that audacity and initiative could shape outcomes even in the face of overwhelming odds. Valera approached the human once more, her tone reflective and sincere. "You have changed everything," she said. "Not just the beast, not just the trials, but how we understand power, capability, and courage. Humans are more than we imagined." The human's expression remained calm, steady, and unwavering. "We act where others hesitate. We adapt where others falter. We endure where others fail. One human can face what seems impossible, survive, and influence results that redefine expectation. Today, we have proven that truth." As stars blanketed the sky, the human stood beside the legendary beast, a living testament to audacity, courage, and human potential. One human had faced the untamable, survived trials designed to overwhelm, and commanded respect through composure and decisive action. The city of Zathra understood that humans were extraordinary, not fragile, not weak, but capable of reshaping reality through courage, initiative, and intelligence. One human god had demonstrated what a species underestimated for centuries could achieve when audacity met opportunity. By the time night fully settled, the city slept with newfound reverence. The beast, calm and obedient, symbolized the extraordinary bond forged through understanding, audacity, and decisive action. The human had proven that survival and mastery were not determined by strength alone, but by courage, adaptability, and the ability to act where others would falter. One human had faced the impossible, tamed the untamable, and reshaped the expectations of an entire civilization. Humanity had been revealed, and the world would never forget it.